Hello, hi, welcome back to a new episode of Woman to Woman, the podcast where I sit down with different women from different industries to get to know a little bit about who they are, what they do, and how they got to where they are. And today I'm with the lovely Ella. I'm not going to try to say your last name because I'm going to butcher it. So, hey, gorgeous girl.
Hello, babes. Ella Ezeike.
Ezeike, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not Nigerian. I'm Congolese. I don't say things like I don't say things like a Nigerian. But could you please introduce yourself, who you are, what you do?
Okay, cool.
And then we'll get into the nitties and the gritties of the questions.
Amazing. Yeah. Hi, my name's Ella Ezeike. I'm a photographer and a director, an artist, I guess, a creative, and yeah, that's me. Really, that's what I do.
Perfect. You've got an accent. Where are you from?
I'm from LA. But it's interesting. After being here for 7 years, people don't really know where I'm from right away. Like the first 2 years I was here, they were like, "Oh, you're American." Now it's like, "Where are you from?" Because like my accent has changed just a tiny bit. So yeah, it's interesting. But
do you think it's because you've been in London for too long? You've kind of assimilated.
I've been here way too long. Like my entire formative years were spent in London. Like all my best friends are here. Like I don't really have a connection to LA. Like London's home. So
What was the catalyst that made you move here?
oh God, I hate saying this, but it was love. I met someone on vacation when I was like 20.
Girl, you moved across the pond.
Don't even. My naive 20-year-old brain. But I went to uni here as well. So even when that relationship ended, like I still had something to fall back on. And by the time I graduated, I was like, I don't want to go back home. So it wasn't like, he was like the main reason why I was here. Like London is, it's my place. It's my home.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Okay, so you're not with him any longer.
Absolutely not, babes. No.
Did you not ever feel like, because you were part of the reason why I moved, I'm going to try and make it work? Was that ever?
Oh yeah, of course. When you're 20 and when you're young, like that was my first relationship as well. So like, that relationship should have ended way before it did. And yeah, there was a lot that I like put up with and dealt with that I shouldn't have, and probably like vice versa. So yeah, I definitely stayed there longer than I should have, but I learned a lot from it, so no regrets.
What was like okay, cool, I'm done. Like do you know what? By the way, the interview hasn't started.
Oh, has it not?
I just did.
Oh, right.
It has, but
he was mad abusive.
Okay.
Mad abusive. Like he was 8 years older than me.
Okay.
And like just super toxic. Like I'm not gonna get into the details of that, but yeah, super toxic, super toxic. And I also think like then I was like super like codependent as well. So and that's why I said that I should have left that relationship longer than I should have, because it was rooted in like codependency and toxicity, and it just wasn't a nice dynamic at all for me, at all.
Well, I'm glad you're out. I'm thriving and happy.
Long time coming.
You breathe fresh air when you're out of a relationship.
Yeah.
That you just like, oof.
Yeah, it's true. And like, it took me a bit longer to learn, because obviously at 20, like you're still young-minded, and I had a relationship after that wasn't so great either, and that was kind of like the catalyst for me being like, you know what, aside from these relationships and how shitty these men can be, you also have a lot of internal work that you need to do yourself, because it's very easy to point the finger and be like, yeah, this person's bad, this person's like hurting me, but it's like you have to do some introspection and ask yourself why these situations keep happening to you, and what about you is attracted to these situations.
Yeah, and I think that's such an interesting point, and I have this conversation all the time with my boyfriend, and I say to him a lot that I think why people aren't self-aware enough is because they're scared to be the antagonist in their own story.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time they don't want to seem like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot for you to kind of like look into the mirror and say, okay, actually, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the reason why.
Of course.
Because you're attracted, and I always believe what you allow will continue.
Exactly.
So you have to get to a point where like, what part did I have to play in my own demise?
100%.
Or you'll keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah, I'm so not into like the whole victim mentality. Like if a relationship ends, whether that's like romantic relationship or a friendship or even a business relationship, I always like to. I might be a bit stubborn in the first few weeks or months or whatever, but then I take some time and really, really reflect, because I like to be constantly evolving. I like to constantly be growing. And for me, like if you stay in this mindset of like, woe is me and everyone's out to get me, then you don't evolve as a human being. And I think a lot of people don't really have that self-awareness yet.
Absolutely. So in the same breath, one of the questions that I love to ask the women that I sit with before we get into the conversation, but even though we have, but I'm grateful for the conversation that we've just had, is what does womanhood mean to you? And in your process of growth, has that changed?
Womanhood means to me, I guess, like, for me personally, it's important for women to champion other women, especially in this industry. Like, it's so hard, it's so tough, and like I think like because the industry is so male dominated as well, we can get into this mentality of like competing with each other and not kind of like lifting each other up. And my entire, like, a huge part of why I'm striving for what I'm striving for is because I want my career to be a love letter to women. And I want to be able to help other women, especially Black women, help other Black women and bring them on and just operate in spaces that are loving and compassionate and thriving. So yeah, womanhood to me means just like loving each other and helping each other like navigate this world we call life.
Yeah. How have you navigated your womanhood, and how has it been for you navigating that?
I guess for me, my early 20s was spent, what I felt like being a woman was kind of like, and this wasn't something that I thought on a conscious level, but my entire 20s was spent catering to men and revolving my narrative around men and what I could do for them and how they perceived me and how they kind of a lot of my value stemmed in my relationships as well. And so
why?
Insecurity, mad insecure, and like obviously that goes down to like childhood trauma and, you know, wounds that haven't been healed yet, but now for me, like how I rate myself now. You know what I mean? Like I rate myself now.
Important.
Yeah, it's so important. I rate myself now, and like I'm so confident in who I am as a person and what I have to bring to the world and to people, and yeah, like sometimes it takes time for us to get there, and even when, you know, I have conversations with my female friends about, you know, their romantic relationships and whatever, I'm like, guys, men are not the be all and end all of life. Like, please.
Yeah. There's so much work that needs to be done for women themselves.
Yeah. Like,
men don't even come close.
They don't come close, bro. They really don't. They really don't. And I'm just like, I think statistically, women live longer when they're single. Men live longer when they're in relationships, and women die quicker when they're in relationships, because men drain you, boy. I'm not saying all men, obviously. I'm not saying all men, but, you know, we have so much to bring to the table, and I just want women to understand that, and I want us to feel that. You know what I mean? It's important.
That's an interesting statistic. I'm actually going to look into that.
Yeah,
that's actually interesting.
Yeah. It's mad.
So for you, kind of tangible steps that you've taken to move away from the space of being a woman that caters to men and not caters, but takes the narrative of womanhood around what men do and stuff, to now being so self-aware and being so confident in yourself. Tangibly, what kind of steps did you take? Like, what helped you that can help somebody else that is trying to reframe their thoughts of themselves?
I think for me is like just falling in love with, I guess, solitude and like being comfortable in that, because sometimes, like, I know a lot of people like jump to relationships because they're you know, they're afraid of being alone, and when you're alone, you kind of have to like sit with yourself, and you have to do some real introspection. And for me, the pandemic was a huge catalyst for that, you know, because my last relationship ended like a week before the pandemic hit, and so I had nowhere to run. You know what I mean? Like, I was just,
God said, I'm gonna take you alone now.
Yeah, I was just sat there in my house. All my flatmates had gone back to their various countries as well, so it was just me in the house. And yeah, I just sat with myself, and I was alone. And you know, obviously I had my friends to lean on and stuff. And you know, we always have such in-depth conversations about, you know, growing and being more reflective and looking at our mistakes and stuff. So that was a huge turning point for me. And then also going to therapy, and kind of like looking at the reasons as to why I do stuff, and you know, kind of like what kind of happened on in my early childhood that kind of affected the way I navigated life. So therapy is important too.
And I like what you said about falling in love with solitude. That is,
it's important.
it's so important, because you hear a lot more in silence than you hear when there's a lot of noise.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think for me that happened at uni. Like, I had to, God said, you're gonna face your front.
Yeah.
And you're
face
gonna
your front
you're,
well. No, face your front and face it well. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Sis.
Like,
because you feel, and I think it allows you to understand the things that you think you've healed from that you haven't.
Yeah.
So definitely solitude and just being alone with your thoughts. I found it very scary.
Yeah.
It
can be. It can be. Yeah. Because you're forced to confront things that you're trying to like run away from or bury. And like, at some point, whether you like it or not, you'll learn the lesson. And if you don't want to learn the lesson right then and there, the universe and God will keep reminding you and will keep showing you until you learn it.
Absolutely. And I think you have to give yourself grace as well to know that the first lesson you'll probably fail.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I know the first lesson God was telling me that, bro, when you get here, it's fine. When you get here, but let's try again.
Them ones. Yeah.
So it's so important to kind of like give yourself grace, but also understand that, like we said in the beginning, like, what part do you play in your own healing? Yeah,
for sure.
And what part did you play in your own demise? Let's say, and stuff.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm loving this conversation so much.
I love a conversation, girly.
I love it. So let's talk a bit about you traveling from the US to the UK. You said you came here for uni and stuff. What was the hardest thing that you learned about coming to the UK?
You know what? For me, it was how reserved people are. Because, I'm very much what you see is what you get. Very open. I've become a bit more reserved as I've gotten older and like as I've gotten acclimatized to the culture and stuff. But English people are so reserved, and I think there's a lot of different reasons as to why. Like, some of it may be rooted in like insecurity, and then, you know, there's culture and, you know, whatever else. But that was quite difficult for me because I'm like, why is everyone acting so stush?
Do you know what's so funny on that topic here? I work for, guess from the colour, but for the company that I work with, so we had our chief business officer come in to do like a all hands or whatever, talk about the company and whatever. Yeah. And the head of sales asked her, "What about English people? Like, what should we do different?" And she was like, "You guys don't have swagger. You guys are so reserved. Like, you guys are so." You know, we looked at her like, But it's so funny that Americans say that about British people so much, like. And I see it. I feel like we're not as outspoken or like I don't know why. I don't know why. But we seem to kind of like accept a lot. Yeah. And kind of I think just in recent years, I think our generation has tried to kind of make more noise in terms of like what we do and what we accept and what we don't. And I'm millennial, so Gen Z and downwards, they're just choosing violence. Every doorstep, they're choosing violence.
Literally, I love that for them.
Honestly, But I think it's because we're breaking ceilings. We're breaking generational curses. Like, our families have come here and they've for so long just survive. They've tried to
Yeah.
survive, and our generation are now trying to thrive and see
Yeah.
what that looks like
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
And I feel like Americans, maybe you guys are just more aware of yourselves and what you can do.
Yeah, it's just, to be honest, it's when it comes down to it, it's just cultural. You know, it's just cultural. And I think, like, I tried to stifle myself a bit, like, you know, being here, because like everyone kind of like, you know, wants to be too cool to like have a personality and be boisterous and like love yourself out loudly, and I'm just kind of like, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, I am who I am. Sometimes I could be obnoxious. Sometimes I could be blunt. You know what I mean? And that's, take it or leave it. Like, it's so important. And I think, especially like women too, we need to, the way men like bring each other on, and they, you know, they're very flamboyant with how they show their achievements, even on socials and stuff.
Yeah.
And women are kind of, you know, we're supposed to be quieter, and I'm like, guys, no,
Honestly
not. Absolutely no.
I always say, like, even to anybody that I like speak, all of my friends, I always say, like, apply for a job like you're a white middle-aged man,
Period.
whether you're white, a white woman, a black woman,
Like,
an Asian woman, apply for a job like you're a white middle-aged man.
I say
because
this all the time.
they will apply for a job that, look at
They
Donald
have
Trump.
no business applying
Donald Trump
for.
had no business applying to be president of the United States of America. But he
God,
applied.
the audacity.
The temerity of it all. He had no business applying for that job. He applied and he got it. What makes you think you cannot apply?
That's what I'm saying.
To be senior, this, that.
This is what I'm saying.
And then you will just fall into the position.
Like,
I feel like women, we need to be more, like you said, like, just
shine your eye and shine it well. Shine it well.
I'm telling you.
Like, come on. Like, I always say to my friends as well, like, you need to have the confidence of a white man. Yeah. They're so delusional in their the way I'm about to get dragged for saying this, but no, they're so delusional in the things that they can do and say, and I'm like, we need to have that same level of confidence. I'm so sorry.
Absolutely. And I think because even if we do have that same level of confidence, we have to work to match for it. There's so many women that are flying under the radar because they feel less qualified, they have imposter syndrome, and all of that, and they never do the work to kind of get out of that. As
no,
well.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's so important for women, like you said, for women to just be, and even in places where they told you can't, just be yourself.
100%.
Yeah, even if and one thing about me that I've stopped hating is women need to be extraordinary. Like, they need to black magic, or women need to be phenomenal.
I want to be mediocre too.
Uh-huh.
Like, if I have opportunities to relax and do up mediocrity, and let me do that too.
I don't have to be excellent at every single
it's
point.
Tiring.
It's tiring. It's overwhelming as well. Like, and I think you have to understand that. But I think
there's definitely balance.
There's exactly. Yeah. Of course, in certain spaces, come as your full self. Yeah. Because sadly, in certain rooms, you might be the only woman. You might be the only black woman that has stepped into that
which
space.
Is often.
Exactly. Yeah. So you kind of need to know that you're representing every like women that will come after you, but in the same breath, rest. Come on. So it's kind of balancing the two. Yeah. So that takes me on to the next topic with balancing and stuff. And I think we were having a conversation earlier about just doing so many things, and I think getting involved, having so many passion, doing so many things. And you spoke about you're a production manager, you're directing. Do you still do photography and stuff?
I still do photography. I'm taking a little bit of a back seat on that, just because moving imagery has always been where I get my energy. Like, you know, I was at GWAP as a filmmaker, so like I just want to, you know, put all my focus in that at the minute, because, you know, it's a huge love of mine. Yeah.
But let's talk about filmmaking and stuff like that. How did you kind of transition, and what's your journey been like in that space?
Well, I mean, I didn't study film, so when I was at uni though, like, I just made videos of me and my friends, and like videos of my travels as well with my ex-boyfriend, and then like YouTubers would like hit me up to like film videos of them.
I think I've watched your YouTube videos.
Oh God.
Sorry. I actually think I just, oh my God, I think I actually did watch your YouTube videos.
Oh no.
No, they're not bad. They're not bad. They were cute.
Oh my days. Please, why did you just?
I will link the video.
No, but please respect me.
I'll link.
Don't disgrace me. Don't disgrace me. Anyway.
No, I'm joking. I won't.
Yeah, so that was just kind of like my thing, and then like eventually like I started making videos for brands, and then that was kind of, you know, a huge source of my income at one point. And then I kind of made the transition to photography, and then I just felt like what I was doing felt a bit like soul sucking, and so I was like, I'm gonna make a film, even though like I don't really know how to make a film. I just kind of like reached out to people, and that's, you know.
Wow. What was the transition? What was the planning of the film? How was it? Especially for someone you'd never done it before.
Yeah, I think, well, I've always like, I'm so big on research. So like, even though I didn't like know everything, like I knew enough to kind of like, you know, create a treatment and then pitch. First I pitched to my cinematographer, asked him if he reached out to me because he just really loved my photography work, and he was like, do you have any films that you want to do? And I was like, actually I do. And the reason why Bluebird came about was because I was going through like a breakup, and you know, through that pain and through that suffering, like my friends were just like my source of comfort. And I was like, I just want to make something that is essentially like a love letter to my friends, you know? And so yeah, that's how the idea came about. And then I told my friends about it, and they were like sick. And then I reached out to a few creatives that I've worked with in the past, and creatives who, you know, whose work I liked. And that was kind of how it took off from there. Yeah.
Was it difficult to expose personal experiences to the public in that sense where?
No, it was really easy because I'm
No, that's good.
Yeah, because I'm so open, and I'm so comfortable with being vulnerable as well, and it's also very easy for me to get vulnerability out of people as well. Like I'm very good with people, and like even my actresses, they're not actors, they're models, you know. And so on the day, like no one had ever like acted before. I mean, I think one or two did, but it wasn't anything like deep or anything. And they all kind of like met on the day, and some of them were acting shy and like, you know, self-conscious, and I was like, look, we don't have time for that. Like let's just you know, let's just get into it. And then obviously I had Chelsea, who's an amazing writer, write a poem, but that was done after the filming, I believe. And yeah, just kind of like flowed together and came together really nicely. So
sick. Let's talk a bit about vulnerability and stuff, because one of the reasons why I created Women to Women was essentially because I just felt like women weren't being opened with their stories, and I felt like a lot of women, our stories are different, but our experiences have similarities.
So similar, yeah.
And I just felt like there wasn't a space to speak about certain things that was so prevalent in women, and stuff like that. So for you, how did you get to become so, you know what, I'm gonna share my story? How did you get to the point where that became easier? Right. Because not every topic is easy to speak about.
No, definitely not. I think I just got tired. I got tired of feeling like my voice was being stifled, like I wasn't being like heard in a lot of these like white spaces that I was in as well. And I got tired of like trying to like fit in. You know what I mean? Like what I'm slowly realizing is that like not everybody's like me, and not to sound arrogant, you know what I mean? Like I tried to kind of like fit the mold of like what people expected me to be, and I was just like, I don't want to do that because that's not me. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna be boisterous about who I am, and I'm gonna be comfortable in who I am, and I'm tired of feeling insecure and self-conscious. And obviously I still have my days, but I was just like, and also I'm a big girl now. I'm actually a big 26. Like all this insecurity, lack of it doesn't give. It doesn't bang. It doesn't bang. So let me just, you know.
There comes a point where it stops being cute.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Stop being.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Come on, babes. Like, come on.
So how do you kind of manage being vulnerable but also keeping boundaries? Like,
that's an interesting question. Yeah, because I remember I was having a conversation with my dad, and because I had had a friendship that ended recently, and I was just like, why? Because me and this person, we never argued before, so I was just like, why did this happen? Like right before New Year as well, and he was like, Ella, you are able to get people to be very comfortable with you right away, and people love to be around you, and for that reason you form friendships very quickly, but because of that, you don't really establish firm boundaries in the beginning, and so people have this expectation of like having unlimited access to you, and wanting you to kind of like tend to their every need and their insecurities and yada yada yada. And he was like, you really need to kind of reassess how much you give to people, what you say to people, and what you allow. And I was like, damn, like that's really, really important. So I'm still vulnerable, I'm still open, but there has to be, I guess, just having a balance about who you give a lot of yourself to, and also taking time for yourself to just be like, look, I'm not able to give you what you need right now. I'm not able to be present for you in this moment. Yeah. I need some time. Yeah. Let's talk when, you know, things are comfortable enough for me to, you know, talk about. So yeah, that's something that I'm still kind of learning and dealing with. But yeah, so it's a process.
Yeah, no, it is. And I always say that you can't, I love a saying, yeah, but I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. Yeah. And it's so easy for someone, like you said, I'm kind of like you a little bit, where I'm like, when I make a friend, what I used to be before life's drained me, where like if I make a friend, I love you so much.
Yeah,
come into my life.
We're butt
what
buddies.
Do you need?
Yeah, literally.
I'll give it to you.
And then I
have
on FaceTime, on calls every day.
And I have nothing left to give. And I remember, it was actually my boyfriend that told me that, because we went to a trip away and I was being that girl. Hey, friends. And then when it came to giving him my time, it was kind of like I didn't have any more energy to give. And it's kind of like, where you're placing your energy, what is the value exchange there? Firstly, as much as you give to people, how much are they pouring into you and stuff? So I've had to learn to kind of create those boundaries as well, which is a tricky thing.
It's very tricky because I'm very much a people person. I love people, and I thought when I was younger, I was like mad introverted, but that was just rooted in insecurity, you know what I mean? But now I'm like, wow, that's an extrovert. Like I really get my energy from being around people, forming new connections. I'm very good with people, but like there's a cost that comes with that. You know? There's a huge cost that comes with that, and if you don't know how to manage that properly, then sometimes you'll be out here looking
crazy.
Okay. So yeah, that's an interesting one. And now I don't pick up because sometimes I had, you know, most of the time I had friends that would call me every day just to talk about nothing. And sometimes I don't be picking up the call anymore. Sometimes I'm like, and that's my subliminal way of saying I'm not available for you. Yeah. That's a boundary.
Absolutely. And I think also the friendships that you make, I think like you said, like we're growing up, we're older now. The sisterhood that you may should understand, especially for people like myself, you, and people that juggle a lot, have a lot of responsibilities. The friends should know. Do you know what? She's busy. She's busy. Yeah. She's busy. Yeah. She needs that time. But also with that, it's very interesting because coming into this year, I felt like I was like, I'm not a good friend, because I felt like I got into this habit of the friendships that I had made for a very long time. So let's say 6+ years, they'll always be there. So even if I don't pick up for like 2 months, they know I love them. They'll always be there. Okay. Let me tend to the new friendships that I've made, so that I can nurture those relationships. Because the relationships that I've had for so long are so solid. Yeah. And then I started seeing cracks in those friendships, and I was like, oh. So it's like, even on that topic, like, have you faced that? How do you navigate kind of? Because you know, in industries, you have to network, you have to make new friends.
You really do, otherwise you're done out.
It's a big part of our generation and how we find work, how we 100%. Like navigate our spaces. So navigating those spaces and nurturing those friendships, and then giving time to the friend, your sisters, because there's a difference. There's a clear difference between friends and sisterhood. like, how have you found that those are hard to juggle, easy to juggle? And if so, how have you kind of...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, but even before, like, I really kind of like came into the industry, because I'm still quite new. Like, I'm not, I would never, I'm still not an industry babe. You know what I mean? So, but I want to say the last 2 years, like, I started making a lot of new friends, and prior to that, I had like, you know, my two core groups of, or my two core friends that were, you know, they were my sisters essentially. But one of them didn't like, it's not that she didn't like it, but she felt like I wasn't making enough time for her. And I was just like, babe, like, I have hella friends that I need to like, but like, no, dead ass, like, I have hella friends that I need to like make time for. And like, prior to that, her and I were with each other every single day. And that also wasn't healthy. Like it's giving up, it's giving codependency, you know what I mean? So yeah, she didn't like that I was like, you know, making time for other people. And I was just like, babe, like, it's not that I'm, you know, avoiding you, or I'm not, you know, not trying to be present. It's just that like there's so many different people that I have to manage in my life, and it's difficult. Like I have things to do as well. So I think like, I think it's just important to have friends that kind of like understand. Like, the friends that I have now, they know that I'm a busy babe, and we will set up like meetings 2 weeks in advance, because we're big girls now, you know what I mean? We're big girls now, so we'll set up meetings like 2 weeks in advance to be like, look, this is where we're having lunch, this is the time, let's meet, you know? And it's love, you know? It's not like, oh my god, you're not calling me, blah 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 blah. But it's also important, even though you're busy, and even though, you know, we have our own lives outside of our friendships, it's important to make time. And it's also important to communicate as well. Communication
right out of my hand.
is key.
My mouth, sorry.
Is so key. Like, a lot of times people can feel resentment about things that you're not even aware of. And it's like, babe, if you just say in a way that's like healthy and concise, then I'll be like, oh damn, like, I didn't realize, I'm so sorry. I will, you know, try harder. You know? Just communicate. It's so simple. But people get stuck in their own kind of like head, and like, I don't know.
She should know.
Yeah.
She should know that.
Girl, I don't know what you're thinking. I do not know what you're thinking. I am not your man.
And the thing about that is, that person will go to bed angry, wake up angry. Me,
pissed. I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
So you're just harboring a headache for no reason. When you could just text me, pick up my phone, or be like, babe, say it's like, I needed you this day, you weren't available, and then we have that.
Babe, it's so easy. And me, I very much have the understanding that my friends have things to do. Like, I've never been the clingy friend. I've never been. I've never been. So it's like, for me, I'm like, if I don't hear from a friend or a best friend in like 2 months, I'm like, oh, like, she's just busy, whatever. And then, if it's something that worries me or affects me, I'll just communicate.
When's your birthday?
I'm a Taurus. I'm May 18th. Yeah, but I have Leo placements in my chart. I'm essentially a Leo, to be honest.
Sense.
Yeah. I'm just
very similar.
Yeah, like, weird. I'm just like,
I
don't know. I'm just like, babes, like, it's not that deep. Like, if you have something to say, just say it.
Just say it. Like, but sometimes it's hard. I think it's difficult to voice your opinion, especially when you don't want it to come up the wrong way. I'm trying to see it from the other end, because I might be that friend, probably. Yeah. And sometimes you don't want them to think you're moist, or you're being, again, too overbearing and stuff like that. So I think it's just how you communicate, and you know your friends, you know the community that you've built. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think what comes from that as well, like, when your friends get on your head about like, oh my god, like, you're not making time for me, a lot of the time it's because, you know, those friends can maybe be a bit more introverted, or a bit like, I remember one of my friends were like, yeah, you know, I have a lot of friends, but like, you're the person that I want to spend most of my time with, you know? And that's fair, but I'm like, and you know, that can definitely be a mutual thing, but I'm like, you need to understand that I'm very different to you as well, and not place the expectation that you have, you know, on me, and expect me to navigate friendships and act the way you act. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. I think there was a point where that conversation was actually on social media. I don't know if you saw it, when I think Adiola put out a statement saying, "Oh, if you're my friend, you shouldn't ghost me." And I think it was oh my gosh, her name Annie
Andrea.
Yeah, that whole conversation I think kind of sparked that thought to me as well in terms of like, oh shoot, like have I been communicating with my friend that what I'm going through? But then again with Annie Joe, she was like, yeah, but if I'm going through stuff, I'm not gonna think, let me pick up my phone and send a broadcast to everybody to be like, hello, I'm fine, just leave it. No, it doesn't happen that way. So I think we should
give people grace. Give people grace.
Absolutely.
If you know I'm not moving bad mind, if you know I'm not intentionally, because you should know who I am as
my
a person.
character, yeah,
you should know who I am. So if you know me to not be bad mind, why would you expect that I would intentionally try to hurt you? That's been my issue. Like, that's been my issue with some friends. Like, you know, like, and especially because there's been for majority of my friendship with you, you know, I've been present and you know I'm ride or die. So if it happens to be the case where I fall off, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why.
Facts.
So I'm just like, I don't know, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe my thought process is wayward. I don't know.
No, it isn't. And people, I think people have different experiences. So if you do share, let us know how you got through friendships and stuff like that, because it's an interesting relationship dynamic, friendship.
Yeah.
And women, we are highly, highly emotional. So
emotional.
Yeah, it's interesting. But that's friendships. But let's talk about as I think we spoke about it a bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
And for you as a woman within the film industry and stuff, I know we're like because I'm conscious of time. Yeah. But as a babe in the film industry, how has your experience been like for you? I think especially in this month of breaking biases and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is the theme for International Women's Day and month.
Yeah.
Have you faced any sort of gender inequality in the industry? Have you found it hard? And I know you're kind of early into your career within the film industry, but what has been your experience so far, and what advice would you give to someone going into?
I think for me, like, it's an interesting one to navigate because it's predominantly white and male. Like, we all know this. Like, the film industry is so white, so male, so like middle class. And like a lot of them get into it because they know somebody or their dad or whoever. And so a lot of the times when I've been on set or whatever, they're like, oh, like, you know, are you the model or the stylist or the makeup artist? You know, they never really expect me to be in crew or like, you know, camera department or whatever. So I'm that's been an interesting one because I can be quite abrasive with like my delivery, and if people kind of like, if men mansplain me, I'm very like, don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. So that's been it's been an interesting one because also you don't want to come off as the aggressive black woman, you know, so standing up for yourself and also keeping like a balance in the workspace has been an interesting one to navigate for me. But that being said, I have met so many amazing people in the industry, women predominantly, and black men actually. Yeah, black men have actually really had my back in this industry. I can't lie to you. Like, they've been looking out for me, and they've really like it's just like, you know, it's kind of like having your older brothers just kind of like, you know, look out for you. So that's been nice. So I'm very conscious of like who I associate myself with and who I ask advice from and who I hang out with, because you can't be kikiing with everybody. Facts. You really can't. Facts. So yeah, that's just been, you know, important. It's just surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who have good hearts, who have good spirits, because people will try to take the piss out of you. Yeah. So yeah. And also be confident in what you have to offer and what you have to bring to the table, because people will try to like make you feel small or make you feel like, you know, you're not worthy of being there. And people will talk to you like, you know, you don't know what you're doing. And it's just important to hold space and be confident in holding space. And that's something that I'm learning, and that's something that I'm becoming more comfortable with. And just like research and know your shit, so no one can chat to you waywardly.
Research is very important. Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
So As we are coming to the end of the podcast episode, because my producer's looking at me like, girl, hurry up and finish. Who are some women in the industry that have held you up, or any women, like let's say your top 3 women?
Right. So people that I look up to, or like just personal?
Just anything, look up to, spoken life into you, people that someone we should check out maybe. I know you probably have 100, but let's narrow it down to 3. Girl.
Okay, I would say my producer, India Lee. Like, she's someone that I've met recently, but she's such a boss babe. Like, she's just like she's been in the industry for such a long time, but she knows what she's doing, and she's just killing it and smashing it, and is just so pure-hearted, you know? And then secondly, I would say, well, she's kind of like, she was my uni teacher. Her name is Ronke Fashola, and she has a fashion brand, and she's been looking out, like, I left uni time ago, but she's just been looking out for me for years, you know, and she's older, but she's like my second mom, you know? She's just, always looking out for me, always speaking like words of wisdom into me, and just like, you know, encouraging me. And then I guess third, who I really look up to, whose career that I'm just like, wow, you're killing it, is Issa Rae. She's just like, she's just like, she knows what she's doing, you know what I mean? And she's just like, and she's so authentic, and she's just so herself, and that's why people love her, you know? So yeah, those 3.
Perfect. That's a lovely lineup of women. What's next for you? What are you working on?
I'm working on another short film, which I'm so excited about, because it actually has a bit of money behind it, whereas before it was just for my own pockets. I was very broke that month, but this short film is essentially about the complexities of a father and daughter relationship. And it's like, I just want to talk about the nuances and the lack of vulnerability in the older male generation, and kind of how that affects their daughters. And when it's released, we're having another podcast. Okay. Wow, that is an amazing topic of conversation. I don't think it's talked about enough.
No, at all. Oh my gosh, please. Like, I'm scheduling in already. Because I already know what I want to speak about, but I can't wait for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it was such a good conversation. I will leave all of Ella's details somewhere in the description.
Yes.
And appreciate you for coming, for sharing your story, for being so vulnerable.
Thank
you. I think when I met you, girl, your growth has been amazing. And
thank you.
I just can't wait to see you shine.
I'm trying.
Trying just a little bit. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
And I'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.